Oh, what are your impressions there, Coach?
My impressions were they were working extremely well today. I think they got great effort. There's some hitting going on out there. We got to tone some of that stuff down because we got a long way to go. We've got at least 3 more weeks into camp, and I want to make sure we get to the first game healthy, and that's hard to do, but we're going to do our best. We're going to try really, really hard to get that done.
The guys that are wanting to hit, they seem to be in the right place, right? I mean, they want to put that hit on as opposed to thud or whatever.
Yeah, Zaire and the linebackers are getting it after it really well. The defensive line's been doing a good job. The safeties and on the corners have been coming up. It's been physical so far, and we've got the reins on them still, so they're doing a nice job out there.
How much progress can you see during the first week of camp?
You know, we see a lot on the techniques and fundamentals. We still got to wait for the first scrimmage. We got to see how the freshmen, how the young guys are going to be when I'm not going to say that part. When the game is real, you know what I mean? You got coaches behind you, helping you, telling you what to do. The tempo's not truly game tempo. We got to see what the young people are going to do when no one's out there standing behind them telling them what to do before the snap.
How do you break down going into week 2? Is it more, more scheme action, or how's that work out?
It's a little bit more scheme, but it's a lot more. Okay, we're going to get a little simpler, so I can see exactly what that guy can do. Because the one thing you don't want to do is be teaching scheme to someone that later on gets passed up because they can't do the little things well. So we'll work on some concepts for some individuals, some teams that we're going to play, but we'll break it back down to really being simple for the first scrimmage as well.
So the day you got here, you promised this abstract.
Promise? I don't make promises.
This abstract idea that something offensively is going to click in the middle of the season. What is that going to look like? As someone who knows it's not abstract and
it's happened twice. I don't know if it's going to happen here or not. I just know that 2 times it's happened, and it's happened somewhere in the middle of the season where the speed changes, the guys change, and all of a sudden, whatever that it thing that everybody talks about that nobody knows what the definition is, they get that. And it looks different. And we'll be able to notice it, but the other people won't be able to.
So it's nothing statistically or anything that will jump off the page?
I know you're a math guy. You may check the numbers. Maybe the numbers change statistically those first 2 years. I'm not sure. But they look different. They act different. They got it.
Because I thought long and hard about this, and you're a movie guy, and I thought Matrix, when Neo gets it.
You're going to make me smile. Stop it. Stop. God dang it, you're making me smile. It's something like that.
Are the ingredients there, though, that you've seen in your other stops that if something led to a click somewhere in that second year, do you see that here?
I think the biggest difference between this stop and the other 2 stops is that we really had everybody the first year. We had so many injuries. This is not an excuse. This is the answer to your question. We had so many injuries last year. We've never had that in the other 2 stops. So I don't know how a guy missing 3 games, 4 games, 6 games dictate to that whole thing second year between game 4 and 6. I don't know how it translates, but we'll find out this year.
How have you had to make adjustments then with that to get these guys in that shape? Or you kind of can't, like you said, it happens and got to be lucky sometimes.
Yeah, we're a Rolodex. We don't slow down for guys. So if you can learn quickly, that's great. If you can't, that's trouble for you. We don't slow down. We keep teaching on a Rolodex. And if you miss 3 or 4 weeks because of injuries the year before, you've got to find a way to wait for that Rolodex to come around and make sure you get it right.
In light of the Stephen Clark situation, maybe Josh Allen to a lesser extent, do you have any kind of concerns about the medical staff and Tucker specifically? I'm not, when it comes to the medical people, those guys got degrees, I don't. I know that I'm a football coach and everybody gets to criticize me on Sundays after games like they've got as much experience as I got. But when it comes to medical, I don't have any degree in that stuff. I don't know any of you guys that got one, so I'll leave it to those guys. If they tell me I'm sick, I'm sick. If they tell me I'm okay, I'm okay. Maybe kind of from a human perspective, to see Stephen get cleared by a bunch of specialists and then the Western Michigan team doctor, like he's over there practicing, how frustrating is it to, see one of your best players going somewhere else because he has to?
Again, I can't get into that part because you got to have faith. And I have faith in our people that they're doing the right thing. I'm not going to look back.
When you look at the running game, what do you want to see change this year?
Yardage. Good plays. I mean, we've got to run the ball better. We're not sugarcoating this thing. We've got to run the ball better. You don't want to be one-dimensional. If you're one-dimensional, you're easy to stop. And we need to be two-dimensional on that side of the ball. So we need to get better.
You said Strickland was getting a lot of compliments early day of practice. What is he doing so well?
God dang it. He's better. You know what I mean? To have one of your guys that started that many football games and to not cruise, to grow in the off period, and then to see him do things that he hasn't done before. He started every game, and yet he's out here doing stuff that I've never seen before. And when you're complimenting your best players on offense and defense, you got a chance.
What are a couple of those things that you see him doing that he didn't do in the past?
It comes down to technical stuff. Like he's doing his near foot entries better than he's ever done before. And I can say that because you guys don't know what I'm talking about, and he does. But he's a lot better at that.
You said pass blocking. Is that something you've seen from him?
No, we've been keeping him out of a lot of that stuff, and he hasn't gone live yet.
Is it fair to say you have better personnel to run the ball? Well, you have a legit fullback and tight end that maybe haven't been here in recent years.
Those guys are still young. Whether we're able to get into other formations, we don't know that yet. The fullbacks never played collegiate football, and the tight ends played junior college ball, but he's never played ACC Atlantic football. So I hope that we'll be able to run the ball against other people, but we won't know that until we get into the ACC because a lot of those guys got better personnel than we have.
Were you able to see Dungy and Amba click during the preseason last year, or did that just come during the game? And do you see that happening with Dungy and another guy so far?
I think the click with Amba and Dungy happened in the summertime. And then when you came back and you saw it, you're like, dang, those guys spent some time together. And then you saw that carry over into the season. I'm not sure who the click is with this year. It looks like Ish is doing some things. It looks like EP's doing some things. But we're going to have to see.
No secret that Tommy DeVito is a pretty competitive guy. What have you seen from him 1 week into camp, and how do you kind of go about, just as a true freshman, the redshirt situation, keeping him engaged and knowing what you might want to do with him?
I think all the quarterbacks are super competitive, and he's one of them. When it comes down to that thing, we're going to play the best guy unless it's not in our interest to play the best guy. It doesn't matter whether it's a quarterback situation or a D-line situation. It's the truth, Stephen.
No, I believe
it's the truth.
No, I believe you.
I'm going to always play the best guy as long as it's in the best interest of the team. And when it's not in the best interest of the team, then I won't do that.
So have you gotten to a point where you think, if this is the week, unfortunately, if Eric were to get hurt, we would go to Tommy, or we would decide, hey, this is when we keep a freshman redshirting 8, 9. Is that something that you've come to a point of thinking about yet?
I think about all that stuff, but I'm just not going to talk about it while I'm on camera. I promise you I do.
I appreciate the honesty.
I'm being completely honest with you.
2 more questions for Coach.
A few guys on the team kind of looked like they're brought in as blue shirts. Justin Ellis said he was going to get a scholarship, 8-1. Clayton Welch and Valdez, Mike said, was a walk-on for a day. Are those guys on scholarship, and what does blue shirting allow you to do kind of in that scholarship realm?
Now, this opens up a really cool deal because, like, some of that news that was reported on some of those cases is they call that fake news now. There's a new term.
It was all directly attributed. So, I mean, someone's not telling me the truth. That's not fake news. That's someone not telling the truth.
Well, okay. However you want to put it. So what I'm going to say is this. I'm going to keep all that kind of stuff in-house because I'm privy to do that stuff. And then whatever you guys print on that, whether it's speculation or reality, you guys can.
What do you want to see heading into the second week now of camp here?
We've got to get better as far as working together. There's some things that are going on out there, and I'm telling these guys, wait a minute, we're all brethren now. We're on the same team, okay? We had a rule in our family. I had an older brother, I had a younger brother. The rule is mom and dad better not come home, and there better not be a mark on the brother. And what that means is he better not have a black eye. He better not have a busted lip. He better not have something that we can see that you hurt your little brother, you hurt your big brother, okay? Now, that being said, we're leaving some marks on each other, and we're not allowed to do that. Now, body blows and denting somebody's chest, that's all legal, okay? There's no marks on you. So we just need a better job of not leaving any marks on these guys when they're going into the training room.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.